Sort of by default from not really having satisfying experiences with monogamy, and then discovering that this was a community, and then realizing that that was okay. I kind of spent a lot of my young adulthood in these very, very long-term relationships with people that I wasn't super compatible with, just because either it felt safe, it felt comfortable, but there would be lots of problems. And the more of those relationships I had, the more it became evident that it's important to, if you're going to be monogamous, to pick someone that you're very, very, very compatible with. And then that became stressful. Almost like when you're at a restaurant and you have to order something, you have to choose one thing in a limited amount of time. I can't just choose one thing. There's never a right thing for me. The last relationship I was in was pretty serious. We thought that the last monogamous relationship, we thought we were going to get married and live our lives together, and the problems that anybody has in a relationship popped up, people, different desire levels, different ideas of what we wanted to do with our individual careers. I guess the stress of putting so much expectation on that being our life plan together and trying to parse what our life plan together would be just really broke up the relationship, and we both started seeing other people while we were still together, and it turns out that it really worked for me, and I was really, really about it, and it really didn't work for him. I think jealousy was a really big issue for him, and he just realized that he was a lot more comfortable in monogamy. So we broke up for that and a myriad of other reasons, and we're still friends. It's all very good. After that, I just decided I can't do monogamy anymore, because I don't want to make a choice for the rest of my life. And when everybody's constantly changing, and to expect one person to fulfill all of your needs and for you to have to fulfill all of someone else's needs is just really stressful and unrealistic. Yeah, and I guess there's a lot of people that also are choosing to live their life like this, and it's just a good time to decide that this is for you. People have been gay and done all sorts of non-hetero things since the beginning of time, but if you can't connect with other people who have the same feelings and the same interests, then you never really are able to have a community. And I think the internet has obviously helped with that, and online dating I think is a really big thing in the poly community, and you're able to kind of just get a snapshot of how a lot of different people are feeling in specific geographic areas. There's a certain amount of, once somebody does something and there's a community for it, that draws more people in, because other people wouldn't have known that was an option otherwise. So I deal with some mental illness. I take antidepressants, and that makes you not want to have sex sometimes. And if you're in a situation where you don't have a whole lot of sexual energy, and you're providing an outlet for sexual energy for one other person, and you can't do it because it doesn't feel right for you, then that puts them in an awkward position where their needs aren't being met, and they're not able to go seek their fulfillment out elsewhere, and vice versa. As far as personality differences, sometimes if you're in a monogamous relationship with someone who's introverted and you're extroverted, and you want to go to a party with the person you love, and you want to enjoy the party and stay for longer than an hour, that's a problem. That was a big problem in my last relationship, is that my last monogamous relationship, is that he was a really introverted person who would get physically uncomfortable if we stayed at a party for longer than a couple hours, and I just wanted to stay and see my friends, and so we would get in these fights that were over something as stupid as, how am I going to get home if you leave? You were my ride. People have hobbies and activities that they like participating in, that they like doing, and if you don't have any particular passion for that, you can try as hard as you can to try to become interested in the same things, but it's just nicer to know that if somebody else is into, painting, and you're not particularly artistic, that they can go spend time with another partner who really enjoys painting, and they can share that without you feeling like you didn't do well enough or didn't try hard enough. I feel like monogamy requires you to become the same person. For people who aren't able to find monogamous partners to suit their needs, it's a lot of pressure. Like, I understand why there are people that aren't getting together, because you're never able to find the one, because there isn't just the one for most people. I feel like it's just a lot of pressure to be somebody's everything. I realize that my partners aren't together with each other, but suppose that I was expected to be someone's number one video game buddy. I would not be able to fulfill that role because video games scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, I've done one Fight Club, but only like the basic tutorial type Fight Club. They get pretty dope.
I feel like at the beginning it felt like a lot of pressure for me to make them friends with each other, because I was not comfortable with being in a relationship with different people who weren't at least comfortable being around each other socially, if not like enthusiastic about it. I think they get along pretty well. They seem to be they seem to be friends now. They like sometimes do stuff without me. My other partner, who I see less frequently than Vince and Dan, he's met both of them. He actually babysits the cat that I have with Dan.
Are you ever alone?
Rarely. And I think that I used to really, really hate being alone, and that this felt fantastic because I never have to be alone. I never have to be alone with my thoughts. I guess that's what extroversion is deriving energy from other people, and I've always really enjoyed that. But sometimes now it makes it so that I really do appreciate my time alone, because sometimes it's just nice to just like, take a bath and like watch whatever I feel like watching without having to like compromise. And I want to just watch like Forensic Files for 6 hours, and nobody else really wants to do that. And so it's nice that now I feel like I can be by myself when I want to be, without feeling depressed or anxious. That I'm happy with my situation now. Sometimes scheduling is kind of hard. I'm not very organized. I think we're making it work. I rarely get jealous, but I sometimes feel left out. We're all hanging out together, and then they go to hang off alone, and I thought that we were all going to hang out together. But it's less about jealousy and more about an expectation of being included, and then having that fall flat. It's like a communication thing. Whenever anybody has a date with somebody that goes well, we get really excited, and like Vince and I like high-fived him when he saw him. It was like, you're excited for him. So it's less like jealousy, but just kind of like a, just insecurity about myself and people liking me in general. I don't really feel sexual jealousy at all. I have like a few other people in my life that I occasionally will hook up with sexually, but don't really have like a romantic relationship with. And I've always really like valued the ability to do that and to maintain kind of like friendships that have like a sexual element without them being a person that I commit time to and energy to, because that's really the limiting factor for polyamory in my experience. Also, I really like the word compersion. Is it like the opposite of jealousy? I don't know, like that's sweet, where you like are happy for somebody for, something nice happens to them that would ordinarily make someone jealous. I really value honesty. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I overshare, which I think is maybe a problem in my polycule. I like hung out with somebody a few weeks ago that I had dated in the past, and it was just like a friend of mine, and I thought we were just like hanging out for, just to like catch up. And then I got like a romantic vibe from it, and I like immediately was like, I think there might be a romantic element to this, just FYI. It made my partners stress out, because they thought they would be like another person for me to split my time with and split my energy with. Like nothing actually happened, and I could have probably just as easily brought it up later. I mean, I had like a monogamous relationship. Well, it was agreed to be monogamous in college, and I just, I cheated on this person like a bunch of times. It was really messed up. It was like not okay. And because of that, I think that I kind of like have this fear of letting secrets become normal parts of my life. And at the same time, I was also like hiding an eating disorder from like my friends and family for the same period and for longer. And I think that like that all kind of went together in this sort of like personal psychology of like secrecy that was making me like difficult to be intimate with emotionally, and difficult for me to be intimate with other people. And so I kind of like compulsively share things now, I think, because of trying to avoid that. So I imagine that there's probably a happy medium I'll reach.
How old are you?
26.
And your partners?
Vince is 27 and Dan's 29, I think. Mm-hmm. I would feel badly putting somebody who is 18 in this emotional position. Like, I mean, everybody's had their experiences when they were like in their teens, and everybody's just kind of like full of hormones, and they're like angry and jealous and feel things too strongly. And it's just like you have to have more of like a pragmatic approach to relationships and realize that, like, you know, you're not the center of the universe and nobody else is. Most of the time when people hurt you, it's based on their own insecurities and based on their own issues, and not because the world's out to get you. If you already kind of don't really want to have sex at all, and then you have like a lot of people for whom you're a normal sexual partner, it makes it like, it compounds what would ordinarily be like a problem with one other human. And I guess like polyamory allows for people to find other outlets for that, but it's stressful and it's hard. And like I know that online dating is a lot different for dudes. Like a cis woman on online dating is like absurd. It's like, you know, you're constantly getting hit up with people trying to get with you. But like for dudes to just find a random person out of the blue, it's a lot harder to find another partner. So I acknowledge that it's not so simple as I don't want to have sex right now, go find someone else. And there's also, you know, the emotional difficulty. Like, nobody wants to just like find somebody on the internet to just like anonymously go have sex with because your long-term partner doesn't want to have sex with you. It feels like more of a responsibility just in the sense that I have more partners than each of my, well, it's not true. I was gonna say that each of my partners has separately, but that's actually just not true. It's just that different people have different amounts of their sexual energy allocated to different relationships, and I feel like it's a lot for me right now. But I understand it's winter, everyone's, depressed in the winter, it's dark all the time. Like, I'm pretty confident that my libido will come back around. So especially if it's like a monogamous situation with any one of my partners, it would be so much more dire and probably be a lot more of a stress on our relationship. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wish there was an easy way to make antidepressants not make your libido shit. That would be great. Mm-hmm. Because also being depressed is also kind of a bummer on your libido as well. So it's like, pick your poison. I'll start with Alex. He's the partner that I see every few weeks. He has one other partner named Anya, who I think is basically his primary partner. And she has 2 other partners. I don't know their names and I've never met them, so I just put them in as X and Y. Vince is over here. He's seeing someone who is also dating a couple. He's also seeing someone named Jessa who has another partner that we're just denoting as W because he's never met them.
They don't live in the city.
And then these 2 dotted lines are people that he's talking to right now who he hasn't officially embarked in any sort of relationship with, but they're people that he anticipates becoming intimate with in the near future. And then this dotted line is just my friend, and we bone sometimes. Jackie's got Kyle, Patch, and Biscuits. Dan has another partner named Laura who has a husband and a boyfriend, and another partner named Kate who is dating Dan and also a couple who I imagine he hasn't met, hence the name.
No, they don't live here.
I've met all of everybody's direct partners except for Laura and Kate. I've met Jessa, B, H, and A. I've met Anya, and I've met Jackie. So all of my partners except for 2 of Dan's partners, because Laura lives in DC. Yeah. But I just haven't met Kate because you haven't been dating.
I met Kate this month.
I think that they've all met each other. I'm comfortable with everybody knowing everybody.
You should meet Kate.
Yeah, I'd love to. I want to meet Kate's baby. Ultimately, I'm just really happy to be able to love more than one person, and I have people that really love me. I was in the hospital recently with a kidney infection that ended up having some complications that led to me just being in the ICU for for a week. They all came and visited me, and it really meant a lot. The people that I loved loved me enough to show up and hang out with me when I was in a pretty dark time.
Did you have a UTI that spread to your kidney because you didn't treat it?
Did I ever?
Do you want to tell people how to prevent UTIs?
Pee after sex. Do it. If you think you might have a UTI, don't wait on that. Go to the doctor. I'm really happy. I love all my partners, and I think that they love me, and I love to see them happy when they get to love other people too, that fulfill them and take an interest in their interests that I'm not really all that interested in.
You came out to your parents?
Yeah, they were. I mean, like about being poly, not about any of the queer stuff. That's for another time. I was like, these are my 3 boyfriends. They are all my boyfriends. I'm going to sleep now. And my mom and dad, who are pretty conservative people, didn't really ask any questions because I was, in the hospital, and they care about me and didn't want to stress me out, I guess. And I know now that I can just like bring whoever home for holidays, and they were really, really sweet to Vince and Alex when they met them. They could have made it a lot weirder. My mom was actually kind of confused by it. She was just like, so is like Dan your main boyfriend and these are people you just kind of casually date? And I was like, no. I love them all. These are the people in my life. And then I fell asleep. That's like a way less weird thing to come out as to people like my parents. Like, there are people in their community that they can like, they understand. They can wrap their mind around that. But to say that I have like, relationships with several different people, that's harder for them, I think, to like conceptualize, because it's just like they don't know anybody that does that. And it also kind of felt weird to be like, oh, also I sleep with girls sometimes. Because it's not like, none of my partners right now are women, like any of my like serious partners. If I start dating a woman seriously, it'll be like, this is my girlfriend. Not like I sometimes have casual sex with women, because my parents are very Catholic and casual sex all around is not really okay.
I thought that I was being generous, sharing you with him. Oh, and big one. Oh, you're not mine to share.
Lucy, you stupid crap.
Pee after sex.